Hey everyone, so today I want to have a serious conversation about what the GPU prices and shortages are actually doing to PC gaming. I, for one, got into building PCs because I really love it, but unfortunately it's becoming really unhealthy with people literally not being able to build a PC because everything is priced way through the roof. This is a very serious topic that eventually in the future, who knows what PC building is going to be like. It's starting to become more and more just a very small market. It's going to be like a luxury market in the future. Only a couple of people are going to be able to build these outrageously priced PCs. So let's discuss what's going on now, what can possibly change, and what are some of the root causes. Today's video sponsor is going to be VIP-CDKdeals.com. Very simple process. You can get a Windows 10 Pro CD key using my coupon code CC20. You're going to get 30% off. So I'm going to leave the link below in the description. And remember to use code CC20 for a nice discount. Hey guys, Tiago with Classical Technology here. Remember to subscribe if you like content. We talk about the PC market, GPUs especially, what's going on with pricing, performance, things like that. So today's a bit of a serious video. The PC market in general and building, a lot of us have a great passion for it. Even on this channel, I did a lot of like water-cooled builds, back when I first started. But after a while, even that people didn't really want to see anymore. You can tell even the bigger YouTubers like Jay's 2 Cents and Paul's Hardware, they all had to sort of struggle with what the audience wanted to see. And what people wanted to see really was either news on GPUs. We see a lot of channels pop up. That's what I had to do recently in order to kind of at least stay current with the audience. People wanted to know like where to get GPUs, the pricing, what was happening, what was going to be coming out. Previously, you used to have this type of information out there because people just wanted to know what's the next latest and greatest GPU because they want that performance bump so they can finally play at 4K or whatever it is at the highest settings. Now, people want to know what the next GPU is to see if it's going to do something to the pricing or availability of what's going on now. So that's a pretty big shift from caring about performance to worrying about pricing and availability. You can see all the bigger YouTubers went through this dilemma as well. A lot of traditional build videos showing you guys how to build a PC. I used to like doing a lot of crazy like water-cooled setups. Those things just don't have as much of an interest anymore. Really, the enthusiasm has been very dull during the last like year and a half, I would say. There was a lot of enthusiasm when the RTX, 3080 came out, for example. But when people saw that they weren't able to get these GPUs in a reasonable manner, that pretty quickly turned to frustration, and it just made people basically unhappy to build a PC. Now, I think that building a PC is an amazing hobby. That's why sometimes, yes, I'll recommend an Xbox Series S at $299 for somebody who's a budget gamer. I have no problem saying that. I play consoles myself. This is all within the realm of gaming, and even they're basically like mini PCs at this point. I have no trouble at all saying that that's going to be the best value for your dollar. Don't try to go get a cheap GPU at today's inflated pricing because it's going to be really quite terrible. Look at the 6500 XT and GPUs of that caliber. Even though that kind of stands on its own with having so many limitations, you can play a very limited 1080p experience, or with something like an Xbox Series S, or even if you can get an X or even a PlayStation 5, they're going to be unfortunately considerably cheaper, even at a little bit of a markup if they're harder to find. The S is in stock often, so that may be a little bit easier, but you get a whole system and a pretty good game ecosystem. Xbox even has like Game Pass and things like that. In the past, I would just tell people to stick with PC gaming. It's better in pretty much every single way. But when you consider that the cheapest budget GPU that you can possibly find, maybe something like a 6500 XT, not even the NVIDIA GPUs, maybe a 1650 or something like that, those are still generally going to be either close to or more expensive than something like an Xbox Series S. Doesn't make any sense. That Xbox is going to be able to do 4K. You're going to be able to play at much better refresh rates in general. It's not perfect. It's not a 3090 or 3080 Ti level gaming experience, but considering for the package that you get, certainly pretty impressive. But that's going to omit a pretty big part of PC gaming and PC building as far as I'm concerned, and that's the building part. You can't build an Xbox. I mean, you can try to mod it and open it up, but that's sort of like not really something most people do. A PC that you build yourself, there's a level of satisfaction that goes with it. It's like, it's like a hobby. Like some people like working on cars, working on boats or building, RC cars or something like that. Some people like building PCs. If you can't get the parts, some people don't even have to get to the point of gaming to be frustrated. They can't even build the actual PC to experience it. Sure, a console is going to give you a gaming experience if that's what you're after, but you're going to be missing that hands-on building experience you would get building your own PC, especially, upgrading it over time, seeing performance differences. Sometimes I even like when there's something a little bit wrong, like maybe the temperatures are a little high, because that gives me a chance to go in and tweak it, maybe buy some better fans, maybe change the orientation of the fans. It's almost like being an engineer when you build a PC. Those things, at least for me, and I know for a lot of you, are a tremendous amount of fun. And in my opinion, if you build a PC, it doesn't matter what type of user that you are. Let's say if you're a gamer, you can build it to get the best, gaming frame rates and things like that. Even a cryptocurrency miner, believe it or not, I know they get a bad rap a lot of times, but there are many enthusiast PC builders within the cryptocurrency mining sector. In fact, a lot of them were gamers or PC builders that just happen to go in that direction, just like you would tune for FPS in a game. Only difference is they're going to tune for mega hash and things like that. But that is certainly going to be always a sticking point to the conversation of the current GPU drought. There's absolutely no doubt that the high price and profitability of Ethereum has caused a lot of people to buy GPUs. You have a lot of hobbyist and casual miners buying 10, 15, 20 GPUs in the market. If you add that up across thousands and thousands of people, that certainly makes a huge difference to what's available for a typical gamer. The typical gamer that goes into a store and it just wants to buy one GPU, maybe he's going to keep that for a couple of years. Sure, that's something that's always existed, but now that's something that's sometimes superseded by maybe even a hobbyist miner who can get some connections or is more willing to overpay on the scalper or secondhand market for one of these GPUs. They don't care if it costs $300 or $400 more because they figure they're going to make that money back. But at the end of the day, we can point fingers all we want to, the crypto miners, gamers, Nvidia, AMD. The result is this is what the market situation is like, and it's certainly looking like it's going to be very unhealthy as it goes in the future. I mean, look at the recent GPU releases by Nvidia. The RTX 3080 12 gigabyte. That's basically an RTX 3080 with just a little bit more VRAM. Doesn't even make that big of a difference. Where the difference is a massive price increase. From a $699 MSRP, we now have no real official MSRP, so that allows the AIB partners to sell it for however much they want, and you'll find these for even like $1,500, like some of the Asus Strix or TUF models. That is really, really expensive. These are not scalper prices. These are the prices that the manufacturers are now selling them at. Imagine something that started off, a year and a half ago at $700. It got very, very minor improvements, if you can really call it that. A little more VRAM, a little more gaming performance, and it's now selling for literally twice the price. Not even Apple does that with their iPhones. Their pricing may go up, but it goes up, in increments, and it takes years and years for it to reach that level. Imagine if they had a $700 iPhone, and now all of a sudden that same model, maybe it just has a little better camera, as $1,500. People would go pretty insane. Now, I know the manufacturing issues that have occurred during the last 2 years certainly accounts for that. I know that, all of the demand from both crypto miners and gamers certainly accounts for that. But that is a very significant price increase for something that really doesn't provide you much more value than the original. There's not too much R&D costs sunk into these newer models. It's not only the 3080 12 gigabyte. You're going to find this across the board, pretty much every single GPU that's going to be released from now on, I think. So nothing's really being presented in terms of value here, and in my opinion, that type of massive markup is much more than would be explained by just the supply chain issues and the demand. They just know people are going to pay those high prices because they see it on the secondhand market. Maybe it's desperate gamers that really wanted that 3080 and they dropped $1,800 for it, or maybe it's that crypto miner that looks at a 3080, the non-light hash rate one, and thinks, oh, $1,800, that seems fair for them. Maybe they can pay it off in a year and it'll be a free GPU. That's basically going to be their sort of mode of thinking. But But Nvidia sees these GPUs selling for those prices, and they basically just see people willing to pay for it. They don't care if it's gamers or crypto miners. They see these prices just being considerably more expensive, and they certainly want to have a part of that. So going forward, is this going to be the new normal, or can something happen that's going to improve the PC building scene? Now, these MSRP prices, or these higher prices from manufacturers, I'm pretty sure they're here to stay. They're definitely not going to lower them unless there's a major event. The only thing that I could see that over time would make these prices go way back down would be something like another huge crypto crash, where it's a huge crypto winter and nobody's buying GPUs at all. Possibly next generation, then they would drop some prices. As that's not really happening for now, and who knows what's going to happen when Ethereum eventually changes this year, even if it does that. Nvidia is preparing us for a very expensive RTX 4000, AMD as well. They pretty much play a similar role in terms of pricing in the market. So RTX 4000 is going to be even more expensive than the GPUs now. And the GPUs that are now are slowly going to be phased out and refreshed, such as the new 3080 12GB, and it's just going to be a much more expensive model than that which preceded it. So this is going to be a major issue going forward unless the demand really drops because of either crypto or just gaming demand just kind of like disappears. These very high prices, unfortunately, are going to be here to stay, and the effect that's going to have on PC building, really unfortunate. Imagine a budget gamer going in and trying to build a budget PC. Doesn't make any sense. There's no more budget. Like, that's pretty much the goalpost has been moved considerably further ahead. It's not like it went up by 3 or 5%. We're talking about 40-50% increases in terms of pricing. Talking about massive numbers that's going to really make this out of reach for many gamers, and that's really unfortunate. So hopefully the future sees a little more balance, more options coming out, especially for the lower end, the budget end. That's very important to keep the enthusiasm going in the PC building space. For now, it doesn't seem like that's happening with the 6500 XT and the RTX 3050. They're all pretty expensive, not really the greatest GPUs. They're even more expensive than their predecessors. So the trend doesn't look too good, but so remember to stay subscribed. I'm going to be taking a careful look at PC building, GPU pricing, and availability as we go into 2022. If anything changes, I'll be sure to update you guys as well. And remember, let me know what you think down below. What does PC building and gaming mean to you coming up now in 2022? So I'll see you guys on the next video.